Jesus wants to speak and to listen, so we will speak and listen with Jesus. Come, divine will, speaking my speaking, listening my listening, thinking my thinking, and breathing my breathing. The greatest chastisement is the triumph of evil. Volume 12, October the 14th, 1918. Notice the date, folks. This is as World War I is coming to an end, and it looks like Germany has been defeated. But in the following entry to this one, Jesus talks about how this is no defeat, because the enemies of Germany had all ganged up together. So instead of one nation against one nation, it became a multitude of nations against one nation, and it says it was no defeat. He then cautions against Italy and France, and he does this several times. He cautions against Italy and France, and in fact France multiple times, and I'm going to be talking about France in this video. This is John 7:7, words of Jesus. The world cannot hate you, but it hates me, because I testify about it, that its deeds are evil. The deeds of this world are evil. John 7:7. Notice that in the Hebrew numbering, 7 is the perfect number. So Jesus is saying something, revealing something truthful, powerful and perfect about this world in which we live. And we need to perhaps change our thinking that this world can do good when its deeds are evil. This is October. This is the dire interest talking about at the start. He added with a more moving and sorrowful tone, my daughter, the greatest chastisement is the triumph of the evil. So Jesus permits evil to triumph as part of his chastisement. We must bear this in mind. March the 4th, 2024. So, as of the time of this recording, this is yesterday. This is from the BBC website in the UK. France has become the first country in the world to explicitly include the right to abortion in its constitution. Parliamentarians voted to revise the country's 1958 constitution to enshrine women's guaranteed freedom to abort. The overwhelming 780 against 72 vote saw a standing ovation in the Parliament in Versailles when the result was announced. President Emmanuel Macron described the move as French pride that had sent a universal message. The feast of the day, March the 4th, is the day on which Luisa, as some theologians say, transitioned to heaven. She went to glory. And it is said to be that would be her feast day, because it's the day she died. So look at the sign. Look at the signs. Look at what the chastisement, the triumph of evil, which happens on this day, drawing our attention to something going on here, because Luisa wrote quite a few times in her diaries about France, how it would be depopulated, desolate. And we can see why. Imagine a standing ovation because they can now murder babies in the womb. And I know you'll all be as outraged as me, if not far more than me, because I know some of you would be very much working for the pro-life cause. As an evangelist, I'm totally pro-life, 100%. Just haven't been able to get to all the pro-life rallies and stuff because I've often been out doing evangelization work elsewhere and so on. So I know that some of you will be down there doing this work, and so you'll be reading this absolutely mortified by this insanity of the French government. But I just draw you to several things in this statement. Number one, the date. Number two, the first country in the world to do this in the constitution. Number three, the numbers, 780 against 72. So the vast majority, 90% of the parliament voted in favour of this, 90%. Okay. Finally, the current president describing it as French pride and believing that their enshrining of the guaranteed freedom to murder babies in a room has sent out a universal message. Finally, I've put on there the Eiffel Tower. This was displayed on the Eiffel Tower, my body, my choice. Folks, that tower will not be standing for much longer. God will strip that down. He will strip down the French pride. This God will not be mocked. And watch out. Just watch out for what is going to happen. Because God will not take this. He will. This is not acceptable to God. This is like the French have now come. The French Parliament has come to a parga. A parga is a Hebrew word, and it kind of means a limit point. They've come to a limit. It's come to a limiting point, and you're going to see something happen. So we pray for the French nation because they need prayer now, because of this law that has been passed. This is Jesus speaking to Luisa, October 1918. More purges are needed, and the evil in their triumph will purge my church, and then I will crush them and scatter them like dust in the wind. Therefore do not be troubled at the triumphs you hear, but cry with me over their sad loss. Now the photograph there is from the BBC website, like the photograph of the Eiffel Tower, and you look at the women, mainly women there, laughing. The unbelievable mentality of women who are laughing because they can murder the conceived baby in their womb. The insanity of this world. When a woman who becomes a mother, the moment you conceive a baby, you are now a mother, and you will be a mother forever, because that baby will live forever. Even though you kill the body, you cannot kill the soul. The soul of that baby will live forever. And those women who are laughing triumphantly, the moment they have an abortion, they will be destroyed in their soul. There's no woman who rejoices over her abortion. But look at Jesus' words. More purges are needed, and the evil in their triumph will purge my church. Bear in mind, the French had a title, didn't they? The first daughter of the church, or something like that. The first daughter of the church has just done something abominable. The French government are going to suffer massively because of the law that they have passed. Watch this space, because Jesus says, I will crush them and I will scatter them like dust in the wind. But he says to us, do not be troubled at the triumph of evil, but cry with me. So we must intercede. We have to pray. We have to pray for Europe. We have to pray for France because of these laws. The interesting thing is, on the BBC website where I read this, further down it talked about how America is moving in the opposite direction to where the French are going. So we thank God for America, who is tightening up its abortion laws. But we cry over the French, who have just loosened their abortion laws. This is from the book of Revelation 16:19. The great city was split into 3 parts, and the cities of the nations fell. The cities of the nations fell. Folks, meditate upon this. The cities of the nations fell. Babylon the Great was remembered in the sight of God to give her the cup of the wine of his fierce wrath. This is going to happen. Sad times. And we must pray. Fiat voluntas tua.